Okay, good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, good day, depending on where you are. We are very honored to have Professor Miaofen Zheng giving us a presentation tonight. The title is Enhancing Language Learning with Generative AI, a New Educational Frontier. I'm going to mute all, so. And then before we start, let me introduce Professor Zheng briefly. She is currently spearheading a generative AI-empowered project on world language teaching and learning, involving 18 world language faculty members in 10 languages at the University of Virginia. In her career as a language educator, researcher, teacher trainer, she has actively advocated text-based language teaching, technology-mediated instruction, community-based experiential learning, and the establishment of global partnership of authentic immersive learning. She has served as inaugural director of the Institute of World Languages, NEH Daniels Family Distinguished Teaching Professor, Director of UVA in Shanghai Study Abroad Program, and Principal Investigator, Director of UVA Startalk Teacher-Student Academy at the University of Virginia. Nationally and internationally, she founded the Chinese Language Teacher Association of Virginia, served on the COTA Board of Directors, and worked as the College Board consultant in AP Chinese, among other roles. Dr. Zheng has published nearly 30 peer-reviewed articles and 17 books and has delivered over 250 talks and workshops on Chinese language pedagogy globally. And she has received 1.5 million of startup grant and numerous accolades, including the Albert Nelson Marquis Who's Who Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019 and the Startalk Award and the Distinction Alumni Award from the University of Taipei and the Jefferson Trust Award, Helen Warrior Burke FLAVA Distinguished Service Award, and Jade Empirical Research Grant, and Ron Walton President Award by COTA. So the list goes on and on. Without further ado, let me turn the floor to Professor Zheng.
Thank you, Andrew, for your great introduction. I'm truly honored to have today's opportunity to share my experiments on GenAI-based studies with you. As Andrew mentioned, I'm leading 18 faculty members in my institution, actually representing 10 languages to try studying GenAI-based classrooms. So that's where I am today to share some findings with you. I hope you'll find the presentation inspirational and have some substantial things to take away. All right. All right. As Andrew and I discussed earlier, she wants me to focus on hands-on activities, some concrete examples for you to take away and make them practical and applicable in your classroom. So that's what I'm doing, basically to be away from theory-heavy content, but focus on some very user-friendly and down-to-the-earth samples to share with you. So I would like to share two major things with you. The first major thing is the findings and results of one semester study that I conducted last fall in my course Chinese 3010 pre-advanced. And the second major component for today's presentation is 2 1-hour experiments that I tried this semester, and they were still fresh. They were just newly, completed, and I'm so excited to share the results with you. I haven't shared the results with the 2 1-hour experiments with anybody in the world yet, so you are the first witness, the first group of people to hear that. All right, a little bit further about my background in addition to what Professor Zhang just mentioned. For my career in the United States, I have taught and researched Chinese at L2 for 32 years, including 6 years serving as teaching assistant when I was a doctor and MA student. And since 2008, I have advocated text-based language teaching for 17 years up to now. Time is fleeting. And as a second language acquisition expert, no doubt at all, I have done my very best to align with the best practices and incorporating a wide array of technology to facilitate and empower learning. And teacher training has been my lifelong passion. So far, I've given numerous talks and workshops in the US and globally. I'm so honored to have this opportunity to share my findings again with you. About ChatGPT and GenAI tools, I'm still new. I'm not an instructional designer. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is from the perspectives of a researcher and practitioner of second language acquisition. I started to experiment to try ChatGPT and GenAI in 2003, and so it's about roughly 2 years. All right, as Andrew mentioned, in 2003 fall semester up to spring 2024, when I still serve as IW director, I organized 6 workshops to well prepare world language faculty at my institution to launch ChatGPT and get them ready to do some actual research, to do some experiments in their classrooms. They are language specific and program specific. And starting last fall, including currently this semester, we are leading 18 faculty members in 10 languages to launch a wide-scale GenAI collaborative project. This project is funded by Art and Sciences Learn Design Technology. The 10 languages include 6 faculty members in Chinese, 1 in ESL, 2 in Italian, and 1 each in Korean, Japanese, French, Persian, Portuguese, and Swahili. Spanish language, no doubt at all. We have more presenters, 3. Interestingly, the Chinese language group stands for the largest group. We have a total of 6 faculty members in the Chinese language program participating in the collaborative project. And in my institution, our Vice Provost Office also launched the AI Guides program. The AI Guides program included 51 faculty members across different disciplines, and the project is funded by Center for Teaching Excellence. Each AI guide received 5,000 as their compensations, and their responsibilities are to disseminate information, share resources in their home department or in their own disciplines. So I think it's a wide scale, institutional initiative. So looking at what our institution is doing, we see the future trend. AI, general AI is something that we have no way to escape from. All right, and in my institution, we use Copilot instead of a ChatGPT. Copilot is quite similar to ChatGPT-4. It's an AI domain that integrates ChatGPT-4 with Bing search capabilities. It's available through an institutional license. So our institutions, invest a lot of big funds to negotiate with Microsoft to purchase this institutional license. And this Copilot institutional license differs from ChatGPT because it well protects faculty and student members' intellectual property and copyright. If you use ChatGPT, then the copyright issue and intellectual property are not reassured. So I think it's a secure, safe environment for all faculty and students to use Copilot in my institution. In 2022, ChatGPT 3.5 was released, but they was not mature. I experimented a little bit. I found out the error in Chinese language. But in 2023, I was not happy either. But last summer, when ChatGPT 4 and Plus were out, I was very happy about that. And I heard from our institutional instructional designer that ChatGPT 5 is going to be released. So let's see. It's not yet. Let's look forward to it. All right, about AI literacy framework. These are very basic. It's not very theoretical, heavy stuff. I think using our common sense is very easy to comprehend. The first thing I want to emphasize that either faculty members and students need to have basic understanding of how AI generates content. And most importantly, that concern a lot of people is to write good, right, and effective prompts in order to get desirable outcomes. Okay, and the third thing is to identify tasks that are appropriate for AI tools. And that's what we are here today. I will share some concrete examples with you and also share with you what students say, what students comment on these experiments. And either faculty or administrators need to know how to leverage AI to enhance rather than to replace learning. Okay, AI has no way to 100% replace learning. Its major function is to facilitate and enhance learning outcomes. And needless to say, we also need to let students, guide students, and learn how to cite and acknowledge the use of AI in order not to, commit to plagiarism. Also, finally, recognize ethical issues around AI development and use. That's very crucial. For me, I'm not concerned about any ethical issues at all. I was concerned about that last year, but after 1 year experiments, I'm confident that this is not an issue anymore. All right, and we also need to promote trust and transparency in terms of the policy. Encourage students to create a policy for AI, and I will share with you my classroom policy with you later. And also to design tasks that encourage or require students to show AI use. Again, I have concrete examples to demonstrate how to effectively use it with you later. To encourage the acknowledgement of AI use and also show students what AI generated assignments look like. You'll see some concrete examples pretty soon from my slides. My pre-assumptions, my 3 pre-assumptions. The first one is that using GenAI in teaching and learning is a no return path. I think that using GenAI, whatever ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini created by Google is an irreversible decision. It's only a matter of when, but not if a hypothetical question anymore. So we know sooner or later we need to use it, face it, and learn it and cope with it. So why don't we start right now, earlier than later? And my second pre-assumption is, can ChatGPT replace teachers' roles? My answer is not. So far, I haven't heard of any second language acquisition experts mentioning that, yes, GenAI is going to replace teachers' role. So I think this is a common ground and it's a common assumption, not just, my personal assumption. And the third pre-assumption is that I believe that those who are proficient and confident in using ChatGPT or other AI tools will cultivate an engaging and interactive educational environment, thereby providing additional resources to enhance teaching and learning compared to those who are not. Based on my prior communication with whoever surrounding me, I have not yet heard of any objection to these three presumptions. All right, and as you know, ChatGPT or AI tools has three roles. That's focused on the text-based information, but not images or not conversation, as images and conversation functions are still premature yet. The first role is teaching assistant, to be instructors, educators, teaching assistant, to create syllabus, get some ideas about lesson planning, about in-classroom activities, and also to help you add the English writing, particularly for K-12 teachers. You need to write welcome letters and share with administrators, students, and parents. And now with AI, ChatGPT, Copilot, the editing is free, and basically, I think the English editing is quite satisfactory. The second role is student tutor. I will show you what the student tutor did and facilitate my students' learning later. So that's the focus of today's presentation. I will not talk about what AI could do for teachers and as a teaching assistant or language partner, but I will focus on what student tutor can do for students' learning. How about instructor? Well, it's premature yet. So far, we don't think that ChatGPT can replace an instructor, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we don't know. It depends on how fast, how advanced the AI is being developed. All right, so as a student tutor, what ChatGPT Copilot can do? Copilot ChatGPT can help students with linguistic elements learning, vocabulary, phrases, sentence pronunciation at a discrete level or holistic level. At a holistic level, essays, paragraph level, dialogues, conversations, essays, story, poetry, jokes, etc. ChatGPT Copilot can also function as an interpreter or, say, translator, to translate from L1 to L2 or vice versa from L2 to L1, big or small, long or short. And what I did to train my students last fall when I started this semester-long study in Chinese 3010 was on day 2 of the last fall course. I conducted a 25 minutes orientation in class. First of all, I introduced what ChatGPT, what Copilot is. And then I showed how the tool can work for you for student learning as a student tutor, free tutor, 24 hours on your side, anytime, as long as you need it. And then I invited students to use their own laptop to do their hands-on activity, to test, get a feel of what ChatGPT could do. And of 13 students, 2 students mentioned that they had prior experiences in using ChatGPT Copilot, but they used Copilot in other classes, not in my classes. So none of students in my class used Copilot before last fall, before day 2 last fall. And then after students, each individual students use their own individual laptop to do hands-on activities. And I invited several students to show their laptop on the screen. So we work together to collaboratively review the tool's strengths and weaknesses. Because even though each individual students gave the same prompt with the same text-based wording and phrasing, what Copilot responded could be different. Yeah. And finally, I work with students to review the policy that I drafted earlier and to see if they agree on that. Okay, so the policy included how the tool could do for them and all other to compare Google with Copilot, so they know a sense of what's the difference between these two. And students use Google Translator before. It was quite a popular, a very simple AI tool before ChatGPT was invented. And I also told students what they should use and why not. Okay, these are agreement statements that I added to my syllabus. Again, 3010 is pre-advanced students proficiency level is intermediate, somewhere intermediate high, moving toward pre-advanced. And I told students that, well, you are enrolled in this course and you agree to be committed to actively engage with Copilot experiment, and you agree to provide a constructive feedback and contribute to the co-creation process. And so they knew very well that this course is designed as an experimental course. And I want students to share their feedback and constructive suggestions with me promptly anytime. Okay, so everybody agree with the agreement statement? No single words were revised, were edited. And this is a policy that I also share with my students during the first week, and also is including my syllabus. I told my students that they could use Copilot 24 hours. It's free service. And but the key issue is that what linguistic features that they are allowed to use. They actually could do whatever they want to do, but they need good guidance. So my guidance for them is that I encourage them to use the following three aspects. One is linguistic elements, to consult Copilot in terms of accurate use of vocabulary, expressions, and grammatical structures. Cultural understanding, cultural knowledge, appropriate cultural norms and conventions, and also to gather some insightful ideas from Copilot to get very valuable constructive suggestions and recommendations. I mentioned very clearly in first week that I don't want my students to write an English paragraph or essay and then ask Copilot to translate English into Chinese. Otherwise, that will become a translation exercise. It doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make real learning happen. And I also don't want my students to copy and paste a paragraph or essay in Chinese and ask Copilot entirely to edit it entirely without understanding the reasons. So these two might be some common things that students do outside their classrooms if they are not well guided by teachers. So going back to this, well, asking Copilot to provide accurate use of vocabulary, expressions, and grammatical structures, meaning that students only put sentences, 1, 2, or 3 sentences into the Copilot interface system, but not a paragraph, not entire essay. So that makes students think thoroughly and to compare what they think with what Copilot generates. Okay. So students know very well what should do, what they shouldn't do. So these are two don'ts. And so the next question is, well, how do you know that students follow our policies, students adhere to our guidelines? And how about two don'ts and two do's? We don't know. But here is the monitoring system. Okay, I'll have one slide that will show you the monitoring system to ensure that students do what we ask them to do. Okay, another piece of information, my syllabus Okay, that has something to do with how to write good prompts, right prompts, and effective prompts to lead to desirable responses, satisfactory responses. I encourage my students to, saying that a mix of Chinese English is fine, is permitted and acceptable. The clearer, the better the prompts, the clearer, the better, the more specific, the better. And ask my student to provide more details for better responses. And it's an interactive process, just like human being. Now, sometimes human beings' language outputs are not perfect. It's through the Q&A interaction process that gets the meaning, gets your request clear. Okay. And so that's why I ask my students to resume conversation until they are fully satisfied. And so they know how and why. Here's a sample. Students use Copilot as a pre-task before class to preview materials. This pre-task centers students' values as a college students. I ask students to reflect on their values 10 years ago and present, and 10 years from now, and to know what are the most important values and criteria in these three different time frames. 10 years ago, present, or 10 years from now, is family the most important factor, criteria, friendship, your girlfriends, boyfriends, health, study, work, hobbies, happiness, time, and money. And they use 1, 2, 3 to rate their preference. And after they complete the table 1, 2, 3, then they started to compose their essay by typing. Here, let's say this student used red to indicate the key structure of vocabulary expressions in the study guide. And the highlighted areas in blue is what Copilot generated. Okay. And the yellow line is what I highlighted as comments, feedback. So student would use the yellow part to revise and edit it in their second version. This is what I ask students to do. So this is, I think, it's a good monitoring system to make sure that student did what I asked them to do. I asked my student to screenshot their question and Copilot responses. Okay, so then it's easy to closely monitor, seeing if students did things right and following our guidelines. Okay, screenshot is a good idea. So now I'm going to share the results and findings of the semester-long action research study that I finished last fall. The course is Chinese 3010 pre-advanced Chinese. Student proficiency level ranges from intermediate, high, toward pre-advanced, advanced low. Students included heritage and non-heritage learners, totally 13 students. And the course design is text-based language course design. We met in person 3 days per week, 50 minutes per time. And the course has a total of 5 thematic units. Each unit has a 2-week cycle. And all materials are self-compiled, authentic materials. Nothing is adopted from textbook-based materials. Here you see a colorful flow chart indicating the 2-week learning cycle. For week 1, it includes 3 days, and each day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, has pre-task, forecast, and post-task. Pre-task means preview task before class. Core task is something that students do in class, basically interactive discussion. Post-task is after-class review task. So that's something that students do on day 1, day 2, and day 3 in week 1. And in week 2, students don't do these 3-stage cycle: pre-task, core task, post-task. On day 4, that means the first day of week 2, students do integrated review task. On day 5, it's a summative assessment. We call it testing action. Either writing, typing, or interactive discussion, or individual presentation. The last day, day 6, is Sabel. Sabel, when students work on their Sabel, they don't come to the regular classroom. They meet with their assigned native speaker Mandarin Chinese to complete the Sabel component. Sabel refers to community-based experiential learning. Basically, one native speaker Mandarin Chinese meet with 2 30-10 students. You see a dragon, Chinese dragon here, because I think it's a seamless process, just like 一条龙 design, one dragon, coherent, well-connected design. We started with pre-task on day 1 before class. In-class core tasks, interactive discussion between peers to enhance peer learning and peer interaction. And after class, students do post-task to summarize and to review the learning materials. So that's day 1, day 2, day 3. So each day of week 1 goes through this 3-stage learning process. On day 4, integrated review task. Day 5, testing actions, summative assessment. Day 6, students meet anywhere on campus, coffee shop, library, dorm lobby to complete their Sabel components. So students use their 5-day learning experiences and skills and knowledge to interview native speakers and summarize it, and then come up with a type essay. I emphasize pre, core, post, the 3-stage learning cycle, because that's a strengthening process to consolidate learning outcomes. Pre-task happens before class. It's flipped learning, 翻转教室, flipped classroom. Core task interactive in-class discussion activity. Post-task, basically self-paced review activity. Again, now I show this dragon as a background. It's a 一条龙 design. So students has input first, receive input through listening or through reading. And so this slide shows the steps of what accounts for real learning. All kinds of learning starts from input. And then after getting input, students started to intake processing information in their interlanguage system. And then that generates output. So I think the design of pre-core post-task and also integrated review task, testing actions, Sabel, all adheres to this input, intake, interlanguage, and output process from second language acquisition's point of view. And best practice, they are endorsed by research findings. Okay, now let me give you a concrete example about what students did for pre-task, core, and post-task. The Unit 3. Unit 3 is a theme that talks about their anxiety using smartphone. Okay, and this is a study guide that students study themselves before class. It has key vocabulary structures and expressions that students need to digest and study before class. And when they complete their pre-test, they need to resort to this study guide. The first pre-test is how long can students go without using their iPhones, smartphones? Can they go without their iPhone, smartphone 1 hour, 3 hours, 8 hours, or 1 day, 1 week, 1 month? Yes or no? Can or cannot? And if no cell phone, no, beside them, are they going to cause any negative inputs? If yes, what? What kind of influence? What kind of effect? Here's a student sample. The blue part is students, it's Copilot generated text-based information and my comments. And the red words in catch-as characters are the vocabulary structures that are highlighted in the study guide. So students are accustomed to this, happy to this requirement, blue and red. Very clear to me to read through their the essays, their type work. And the second task is how to resolve the issue of phone anxiety. Any methods, any good suggestions? What should they do to overcome their phone anxiety? Here I listed 7 or 8. And again, you see students sample, students typed, short responses. Blue is Copilot generated responses. It's basically text-based information, also my comments. I always try to finish my comments before class. So that means that I wanted my students to get accurate input from me before class. So when they interact with their peers in class and they have accurate input and the other party will get accurate, appropriate output. Yeah. The red part again is the vocabulary structures that I require my student to highlight, and they are from the study guide. Okay, and other methods. Okay, what other suggestions that students would like to add? I asked them to list at least 3. All right, so after the 2 pre-tasks that students completed, by resorting to study guide before class. Then in class, they would be ready to interact with their peers. So when they interact with their peers, everybody has a laptop, that laptop in front of them. They open their pre-test files and they have my comments. So we have never experienced difficulty or challenge in this strategy. I think it has been working quite well. And this image is generated by Copilot. All right. And after core task, then students type a short essay to reflect on their discussion in class and to share how they think that they could change their habits to make their habit healthier. This is a student sample, a simple type essay. Red, again, red represents words and vocabulary expressions that the students found from the study guide. The blue part, basically either grammatical structures or vocabulary are what is generated by Copilot. The yellow is highlighted by me. Typo, yeah, mainly typo, 2 typos here, minor things, not a big deal. Okay. And I want to emphasize the coherence and the sequence of the pre-core post. You see, for pre-task, it's typing, it's writing. And then the pre-text writing and typing reinforces speaking in classroom interactive activity. And after interactive speaking tasks in class, the students do typing again after their class. I think this makes students learning more solid, okay, and more well, hopefully to be better consolidate and internalize in their brain when they process information. Again, it's the same slide, as you can see, but I want to stress again its importance to create a well-connected and well-sequenced learning process. to really make the real learning happen with Copilot as a facilitating tool, pre-task, for-task, post-task. And don't end just right here, okay? Because learning a language need to be recycled, and need to be probed for I+1 over and over again. And then integrate review task, and then testing action, and then sub components. All right, so some tasks are completed outside the classroom for self-learning, and some are done in class to enhance peer learning and peer interaction. Both need to go hand in hand in order to make learning internalized and to help students master whatever language components at the discrete or holistic level. So I want to emphasize again that it's more time effective to allow students to use Copilot as a 24-hour free tutor before class, after class. And in class, we create opportunity for students to do what they cannot do and cannot do well alone outside of class. Okay, so both components need to go hand in hand and to enhance each other. All right, how to make real learning happen? Here I have 4 key points to share with you. The first is that students are doers and thinkers, but not ChatGPT, not GenAI, not Copilot. Never created any assignments that give students some leeway out to use GenAI as their doers and their thinkers. And then always think about creatively how to foster peer learning and peer interaction. When students engage in peer learning, peer interaction, it's totally fine to use Copilot whenever they need it. Yeah. And also engage students in interactive tasks after self-learning. So these reinforces the previous points in the previous slide that I shared with you. Both self-learning part and in-class consolidated part need to be strengthened mutually and combine outside the class learning and in-class learning. And so now I would like to share with you the results and findings of the Likert Skills Survey. 13 students participated in the study, and the survey includes 3 categories of questions. They are language skills and students' satisfaction with Copilot, and whether they encounter some technology glitches or not. The Likert scale, it ranges from 1 to 5 points. 5 represents strongly agree, 1 least agree. Let's talk about the results of language skills first. I asked students to respond to questions. If Copilot help them learn vocabulary expressions and help them learn grammar, as you can see, the red part. Help me learn vocabulary expressions with has the means for 54, 4.54, and similarly learn grammar with the same mean. That's the highest means. Second to that is 4.31. Help me translate from Chinese to English or from English to Chinese. The third highest means is 40.8. Copilot assists in transitioning from informal to formal writing expressions. For students at that level in pre-advanced Chinese, it's so important for students to transition from informal expressions to formal expressions. So this makes perfect sense. The remaining three language components have a little bit lower means, but they are still higher than the average. 3.54, 3.38, 3.92, very close to 4. Help gain cultural knowledge, get good ideas, and help me gather information for new content. So, well, I'm personally quite happy with students' rating. It also coincides with my, I guess it's with my prediction. Most of the time, students ask Copilot to give them the right vocabulary, as for example, code switching from Chinese English to Chinese, help them learn grammar, or come up with suggestions with better grammatical structures and translation and the formal expressions. So I think it coincides with my hypothesis quite well. And here it's student satisfaction level. The means are very high, close to full score 5. And I'm very happy with students' rating, students' reflection about language skills. The majority of students think that their language skills are improving with Copilot's help. That makes me so happy. I couldn't be happier. And students also think that Copilot is helpful as a tutor, and they are quite satisfied with the Copilot as a learning tool. And almost all students highly recommend it. Yeah. So I think the results are quite satisfactory. About technology, the mix is 4, was 5. All students think that Copilot is very user-friendly. But here the mean is very low, 1.54. Actually, the lower the better, because this item asks students experience about if they encounter any technology glitches. It's not 0. I mean, a couple students at the right beginning probably have encountered some, inconvenience, because I learned from their survey that has something to do with that they use either iPhone or iPad. But this is not big deal. As long as they use laptop, then no technology glitches at all. All right, and what students commented on their experiences? Let's read the yellow highlighted part. These students say that Copilot provided me with pinging and sentence examples if I ask. And this student mentioned that he or she used Google Translate before, but he or she thinks that Copilot is a more accurate tool. I'm very happy to hear that. And Copilot is more user-friendly. It asks you questions about the question you ask to get a better understanding. And this student also like the conversational aspect of Copilot, but this is the aspect that we did not emphasize a lot in class. We mainly experimented with test-based information and output. The students say that the Copilot helped develop new vocabulary that I add to my personal vocabulary list. This is a very hardworking and diligent student. Yeah. And Copilot provides much more thorough definitions for words than Google Translate. Yeah, that's right. And that's very good to hear that. One more comment. In the past, I have used a Chinese dictionary. And now I use Copilot to cross-reference different words, and this student thinks it works so well. He or she learn more advanced grammar structures and help express what I want to say. When it is hard for me to create a sentence that makes grammatical sense, I always have Copilot help me restructure my sentences. Right, one more thing. Let's look at the yellow part. How Copilot makes informal language more formal. That is one of the questions that the survey responded. All right. I think for students at the critical period of time, moving from intermediate level and upgrade to pre-advanced level, it's important for instructors to help them develop skills to be an independent learner. And the result of the study showed that using Copilot to fill in the gap works very well and very nicely. All right. Next, let's move to the 2 one-hour experiments. Let's just complete this semester. The first 1 hour experiment I just share with you is that my students envisioned a virtual tour when they stay at an AI hotel. Okay, when they check in, they don't need to use a card. They just use facial expression, facial recognition function, check-in by facial recognition. And they ordered food in China through their cell phone. So the food was delivered by a robot to their Zoom. Very convenient. Everything could be done by AI. And this is what I asked my student to do on February 24th, just about 6 weeks ago. Students in class, they finish peer work. Step 1, they go through each vocabulary and expression structure as a review activity. As an instructor, I'm the person that identify the key linguistic components. So then they ask Copilot to generate one passage for each topic. Let me say that each individual student use Copilot to generate one passage for each topic. And then A and B is pair work. So A and B then compare their passage generated by Copilot. Because it's pair work, I want to foster and enhance peer learning, peer interaction. So then I ask A and B to merge 2 passages and then create one final version. So this step is to make sure that students read through their passage carefully. And so it's not just copy and paste task. So they need to read and understand, comprehend the passage, and then merge and create one final version. And then they asked Copilot to add pinyin and English in parentheses for new vocabulary expressions that already adds on in addition to the core components. Okay, and the reason why I asked students to add pinyin and English in parentheses is that this is going to be recycled to be used further for test items for midterm, and you'll see more concrete thorough information later. And after students merge 2 individual passages generated by Copilot, then I ask each pair to create whatever type of questions to assess the comprehension, to assess their peers' comprehension in midterm. Okay. And reminders, I share 3 reminders to my students. The first reminder is remember to give clear and sufficient information in their prompt so Copilot can generate desirable responses and language outcomes and outputs. Second reminder, I ask, and again, that's what I plan students at the orientation in week 1, continue to chat with Copilot until they feel they totally understand each element of the generated passage. The third reminder, I require my students to upload their final work to their individual Google Drive. All right, now let's see what students' work. Generated by Copilot, a table, what kind of table? Vocabulary list. Traditionally, this was generated by instructors. Okay, probably if you don't use textbook, then you need to do your work on your own. Without Copilot 2 years ago and before 2 years, we use our brain to do that. Think about how much time. it took them. Now it could be done just in seconds. Okay, and so you see characters on the left column, and then pinyin in the middle, English meaning on the right in the table format. And then a Copilot generated reading passage, starting from two individual passages and then merge into one. And students strictly follow my instructions. They added pinyin with tone marks and English meanings in parentheses, okay, in the passage. And let's see what students created in terms of the items. I gave the freedom and autonomy to each pair to decide what kind of format to check on their peers' comprehension. And basically, we found two types of comprehension questions. One is multiple choice questions. The other is fill in blank type of items. Multiple choice questions, all generated by Copilot, and fill in blank type of questions. And then as instructor, I don't need to use my own brain. I don't need to use my after classroom time to do extra work. This was beautifully done, readily done, innovatively done by students in class. Okay, and it's accurate, appropriate, and so it's a very good example of student-centered approach. It not only saved my time as instructor, it also enhanced peer learning. So students are taking the test based on the items generated by students, actually generated by Copilot. Okay, this accounts for 15% of first midterm reading comprehension, and each individual student chose 3 sets of items, either multiple choice questions or fill in blanks. All right. Let's see what students said. Okay. Let's see, highlight the yellow part. Super interesting, easy, helpful to do a review in this format. So it's important. Easy and helpful in this format to do a review task. The new vocabulary was also helpful. I say helpful appears repeatedly. Also, here he say this exercise should continue to be used in future classes. I couldn't be happier. Wonderful. And here he say this is an effective way to measure our comprehension in assessment and gives a new perspective by changing the way we think about assessment. So I labeled this as open assessment. My ideal is to create open curriculum, open pedagogy, and open assessment. And this serves as one good example of what accounts for open assessment that values process more than result, and also result is considered, of course. All right, the second 1-hour experiment I'd like to share with you is on the theme Northern Drifters 北漂 and foreign notes using China 四部青年. This is a societal issue in China. The young people, I think roughly 1 out of 10 has this four no's use philosophy. They don't date. They don't date with their girlfriend. They don't need girlfriend, boyfriend, or they don't need marriage, and they don't need housing. They don't want children for no use in China. And what we did in class, actually that's 5 days ago, March 31st. 5 days ago, we completed this in class. Before class, step 1, each individual student complete their individual work at home. I asked them to create a passage like what I did previously, reading passage. And I also asked them to create whatever formats of items to check comprehension. Okay. And in class time, in class pair work, two people work together. A work and the items that be generated, assisted by Copilot, of course, and B work on the items that A created, actually generated by Copilot. Okay. And then the next step is, well, we'll see in class peer learning and peer feedback. Okay, so when students are working on step 2, A and B need to negotiate meaning. They need to discuss and help each other. So that makes interaction happen. And step 4, in-class discussion. All right. Now let's see what students generated when they work individually at home. What kind of comprehension or review items that student generated. Here on this slide, you see multiple choice questions, the reading passage here, and the highlighted in bolds are key structures, the core structures and vocabulary in the study guide. And here you see multiple choice questions, fill in blank questions. Okay, this is almost got the type of format of questions are identical to the first 1-hour experiment. But I would like to invite you to see next slide and pay attention to what kind of formats the review questions that students created in consultation with Copilot. These students, again, generated reading passage first and then match it. You see, this student created a matching type of questions for comprehension checks with the help from Copilot. Matching about what? Matching formal expression and informal expression. Yeah. All right. And then the next format of comprehension question is to rewrite sentences. Again, to rewrite informal sentences and then become a formal sentence. That's one of the very important can-do statements for this unit. Okay, and it's ideal and it's appropriate for students at this level. So I was surprised. I was surprised when I saw students create these two types of comprehension questions because I did not ask them what to do. It's 100% student-centered, student-driven. And that's the beauty of student-centered, activity assisted by Copilot. All right, what students said about this kind of experiment? Again, helpful, valuable, effective, very quickly generated reading response. Multiple choice question fill in blanks formats are quite good, so easily generated. And I asked Copilot to order the reading passage either to be longer or shorter. So they tried it and they do it on their own and they felt it's quite quick and quite effective, super helpful, and also provided pinging. All right, and this is one of last several few slides. From the examples that I shared with you so far, you will see a big paradigm shift. We see the importance of students' role and what a learner can do. Okay, the first paradigm shift is it shifts from one size fits all to differentiated learning. We see how creative students are to consult Copilot to do what was done previously by instructor as a professional language educator, and also to cater individual need to make differentiated learning possible. The second paradigm shift is to shift from result-oriented to process-driven learning. The third shift is instead of students continue to rely on instructors' help. Now they could do beautifully on independent learning. The fourth paradigm shift is to shift from teacher-centered and student-centered. We started to advocate for a student-centered approach at least 1 decade ago. Now, I think we need to work together to promote co-pilot general AI-enabled empowered learning. This is another paradigm shift from teacher-centered to student-centered approach. Next paradigm shift is to shift from fixed schedule learning to self-paced learning. Okay. Last but not least is to shift from external regulated learning to self-regulated learning, to count on students' autonomy, trust students' independence, and to promote self-paced learning and fostering self-regulation. Every year there's only one day that is Happy Teachers Day. I'm not a high school teacher or K-12 teacher, but it seems that it's October 5th, right? October 5th is National Happy Teachers Day. But I use this slide to share with you my happiness, my satisfaction. I was brave enough to dare try this experiment, particularly the semester-long study that I completed last semester. I was quite, at the very beginning, I was not confident because nobody had conducted that kind of research. But last summer, I went through a long, deliberate thinking process in consultation with my students, assistants, and students who took the same course previously. I gathered their input, so that gave me sort of certain level of confidence for me to move on. And from the result of study, the Likert scale research, you see that the rating was quite high. So that made me so happy. And then moving to this semester, it's still ongoing. Our course is not finished yet. It's not finished until the end of April. With the results of the 2 1-hour experiment class, I'm very happy. Yeah. So that was my Happy Teachers Day in the 2 classes in February and the other on March 31st. My preliminary assumptions, again, I think that ChatGPT or whatever your AI tool cannot replace our role as a language professional. And it can only take over certain functions that our role entails. For the future, looking into the future, things that we do work together collectively and collaboratively together is to continue to explore further to see in what areas can ChatGPT perform at its best, allowing us to redirect our energy to other tasks or even rest more effectively and efficiently. I don't have clear answers. It takes quite a number of years, several years, before the research studies are released. But let's see, yeah. I have come up with 4 tentative conclusions to share with you. Conclusion 1, With Copilot or whatever general AI tools, students can learn more, learn better, and more effortlessly, while teachers teach less. As you know, as the example that I share with you, I did teach less. Teach less, teach more effectively, and most importantly, with ease, so you can enjoy more quality family time. You don't need to work over the weekend. You have time to be mindful of your well-being. Second conclusion, the exploration of ChatGPT or Gen AI tool is still in its early stages. We need more research, more classroom-based studies to enlighten us, to inspire us. Language professionals will collaboratively assess its pedagogical efficacy and efficiency while considering digital diversity and ethical implications. Conclusion 3, AI is currently transforming a teacher-dominant approach to open curriculum, open pedagogy, and process-driven assessment. These are the 3 terms that I mentioned earlier. And making collaboration among students and between teachers and students is more engaging and impactful. All right, the last conclusion. Each school, department, and program should create guidelines and clear, actionable policies to ensure consistency and transparency in the use of AI and continue to revise them in response to rapid developments. The very last slide, I would encourage you to try as what I did. I did not experience failure. So if I did not experience failure similar to you, you could also experience success as long as you are well prepared, you are well equipped with necessary skills and knowledge. I encourage you to try because to try is to believe. Okay, this image created by Copilot last year. All right, this is my presentation. We still have 15 minutes for Q&A. Should I stop share so we can see everybody's face if we don't need to see the PowerPoint again?
Well, thank you, Professor Zheng. Thank you so much. I think you have seen Professor Zheng illustrating how she used generative AI in her classroom, involving students in this process. This is a wonderful experience sharing with us. So I'm sure you will have some questions. So please type in your question in the chat box or open your microphone directly. Do you have any questions? Yes, 有老师。
真的是 I know this is a very useful if you are teaching the college student, and as you mentioned that you are not in the K to 12 student or the heritage Chinese. So what your suggestion for us to using this AI in our classroom?
Right. That's a great question. And I have consulted quite a number of K to 12 teachers. Let's put elementary setting aside because elementary school kids are premature. They are not ready to use it. Let's talk about high school students. Yeah, I have talked to quite a number of high school teachers, and I learned from them that most high school settings in the United States do not allow students to use general AI for their homework. Teachers are fine. Teachers are, I think, most schools do not ban the use of general AI tools about the teacher side. So I think the key issue we need to think more thoroughly is students' part. Although most high schools, if not all, do not encourage students to use GenAI. I'm inviting everybody online to think about one question. For how many years we, as high school teacher, educator, or administrator, would like to prohibit students from using it? For how many years? It's a trend. You either block it, ban it, or guide it. If you continue to ban the use of it, then I think so you don't allow students to use Copilot GenAI tools to gather vocabulary, to learn vocabulary, to learn grammar structures, or to itemize sentences, then how can students do independent learning? So again, I know very well that high school students are not as mature, are not as independent as college students. But the question we want to think about it, think further, more deeply and profoundly is, for how many years can you ban it? 10 years? 20 years? I personally think it's a no return path. Instead of not allowing students using it, why don't we think more innovatively, collectively, to draft the guidelines and recommendations, policies, and strategies to use Copilot? 禁止不如疏导. Yeah, blocking it is not as good, as effective as making it open and well guiding students. Yeah, that's my point of view.
Thank you
But
so much.
I'm not a policymaker. I know it's probably you need to persuade your department chair, your colleagues, and your administrator, your principals. It might take a little while. Yeah. I think it's how to appropriately use GenAI tools to complete assignments, from students' part, is a habit formation process, just like second language acquisition. If you help students form good habits, then things could be done beautifully, appropriately, correctly. So I want to emphasize the importance of strategies, guidelines, recommendations, and policies. As long as these are well created, well communicated, it will work well. And it will work well progressively, not immediately. I know high school students need to work with teachers, work with their assignments, more, probably takes more time. So I said progressively, but not immediately.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's most of my student is from high school, so I usually some school district they allow them to do those during their process of the learning, but of course during the test they definitely cannot using that. So I have using the ChatGPT for them to create the short story, and then they try to find out. I mean, for the intermediates, that's a label that you should using that as the reading for them to find the errors and then fix it or rewrite, make it easy for their meet their labels, that one. And then if the student using the either Copilot or the ChatGPT, I usually recommend the student make a note and what did you learn from there, or some vocabulary they didn't know, I just make it, ask them to make a note that what the vocabulary and what's your English you are or original want to say, because sometimes they come out is not exactly the English they want to to locate it. So that is, but however, most of my student is very positive using those. This is a kind of the dictionary. Thank you.
I'm so glad to hear this example. I think we need to invite your 老师 to share your example experiment. So that's beautiful. Yeah, it's not the case that students cannot do it well. I think that the key is if students are well guided, well trained to do it, and most importantly, also think about what we can do to make real learning happen. Real learning means, learning happens through the input, intake, interlanguage, and upper process. It's their real learning. Things or linguistic components are well stored in their interlanguage system. Yeah, it's not just copy and paste. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. I'm glad to hear.
Thank you, Yu 老师 and 郑老师. We still have some time for more questions. So, do you have any question? There is one person commenting in the chat, thanking 郑老师 sharing with us her experience, and this is terrific because it came in the right time. We really cannot ban students from using tools or AI. We might think about how to embrace take advantage of AI. And it was Liu 老师 who thanked 郑老师 for sharing with us this information, message. And she said, indeed, banning is 禁止不如疏导.
Yeah, thanks to Liu 老师 sharing. Yes.
So I have a follow-up question. You say that you train your students. So did you show students how to provide prompt and what would be the good strategy to enter effective prompts so they could move from the phrases to the paragraph you want them to generate?
All right. First of all, let me clarify and remind one more time. I've never asked my students to copy and paste a paragraph level output to Copilot. No, not paragraph. Always sentential level. Believe it or not, it's so interesting. The examples and the result that I share with you are a 3000 level, 3010, 3020. And I also teach 4,000 level, 5,000 level. Even 4,000 level and 5,000 students told me that 曾老师, we don't want to copy and paste the paragraph level and asking ChatGPT Copilot to edit for us. My 4,000, 5,000 students, I know high school you don't have 4,000, 5,000, that's post AP, way beyond AP. Those high advanced level students don't want to copy and paste and enter paragraph level, essay level to Copilot setting. No. So that's first thing I want to clarify, because they don't want to be influenced by Copilot in terms of their thinking. Okay. And the second thing is what kind of strategies, how do you train students to do and give good prompts? I think there are 1 or 2 slides that I mentioned. Should I go back? Should I go back to share? Okay, let me go back to refresh your memory and to make it more concrete. One of the first several slides, I think. Very quick, we can find it. Okay. It's crucial to help students come up with the good prompts. I offer them some strategies. A mix somewhere. Here, Okay. This is what I put in my syllabus, and in my second class in week 1 last fall, 5 principles or strategies. Yeah. For 3,000 level, their Chinese is not advanced enough for them to type and communicate with Copilot totally in Chinese. So that's why I thought through this. And then I decided to say and encourage them that you can use Chinese and English both. It doesn't matter. Your prompts could be Chinese or English or a mix of Chinese and English. Yeah. For 4,000 level and 5,000 level students, post AP students, key in Chinese questions might not be a big problem. But even for post AP students, in some cases, they still need to use English to communicate with Copilot. The clearer the better, the more specific the better, and ask them to provide more details for better responses. And think about the interactive pattern when they engaging in negotiation meeting or discussion with a real person. Sometimes you might not get a meeting close. Sometimes your party probably misunderstand what you meant to say. Well, that's all right. Just like natural conversation, resume conversation until you are fully satisfied. And so they will know how and why. For college students, actually, in my case, I just spent 25 minutes for day two in week 1. That's it. And as I mentioned, I ask students to try 1 or 2 questions on their own, and they use their own laptop to do it. And I invited several students to come to the front and show the screen of their laptop. So the screen of their laptop was projected on a big screen, and compare their responses, the Copilot generate responses to the same question that each student asks Copilot to do. So the prompt is exactly the same. That's one thing. And after that, I asked each of them to try different prompt, different questions. It's a very quick process, only 25 minutes in my class. That's it. After that, we did not do any orientation. We did not do any training at all. But I think for secondary schools, you may need more time, assuming high school students are not as mature as college students. They need more guidance, more practice time. And also, I think you could provide orientation or training at different stages of students learning in coping with Copilot. At the right beginning of semester, you try one small orientation, and if needed, and you see students' performance and students' generated output, you can hold small sections to remind students again.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us the steps, the details you did with students. Do we have more questions from the audience? You can type in the question or comments. Yeah, we have people providing comments.
Does anyone have reservation or hesitation to use it? Personally, I know they involve different level, administration level, instructional level. Yeah.
Yeah, and one person said, yeah, good points, enough time, and clear points. clear instruction. I remember one Chinese heritage school teachers shared with me that when she asked her students to find out information about the disasters in the news, right? And the students, and they want to find good readings. And students use AI, she didn't ask students to use AI, but students use it anyway. So that's sixth grade students. They use AI to find search information for them more effectively, and they got the answer quick right away. Some students use a search engine the traditional way, and they try to read news articles. But that one student used AI. No, he got his results almost instantaneously. Everybody just learned through the process, right? So I was amazed that as sixth graders, use that in the classroom. Of course, in a Chinese school, there's too much restrictions, so many restrictions. So students, basically could do things, that probably in the public school they were not allowed to. And we have new message. Yeah, many people thanking Professor Zheng for the presentation. Yeah, and this one person say, yes, understand AI and embrace it. All right, so our time is up. No, I'm sorry, it's 8:35. I didn't realize that. Well, thank you again, Professor Zheng, for giving us this wonderful webinar and showing us how you have used generative AI in your classroom, which has given us a lot of inspire us, many good ideas and thinking about how we could use it effectively with our students in our classroom. Hey, and well, thank you for everyone who have participated in tonight's webinar. I know it's weekend, and particularly I appreciate your efforts and time in learning more about generative AI and investing in your professional development. So good night, everyone, and thank you. We will have more AI series now, generative AI in world language teaching and learning. So please sit tight and you'll hear more information from us. And it's
谢
great
谢
to
谢谢
see
陈老师，谢
so many
谢
new
曾教
faces, so
授。
many faces,
谢谢。
old faces. Thank you. Good night. Yeah.
Good night，好。
谢谢老师。
不行。
开心哈。I have to stop recording. I forgot.